What's up guys, Sarah here, and today we are going to make some healthy cannabis infused banana bread. If you guys are new to the channel, we talk a lot about natural health and fighting disease, and we also talk about sustainable gardening, growing your own organic food and medicine, rainwater harvesting, composting, all that kind of stuff. So you should totally subscribe down below. All right, let's get started. Most of the banana bread recipes that I've come across call for white flour, lots of refined sugar, totally unhealthy. This is not the case with this recipe. Okay, so for this little project, we're gonna use, you could use one of those beaters, like a hand beater that you would use for baking. I don't actually have one, so I'm using my food processor with the attachment for making dough. It actually works pretty good. And then we also need some whole wheat flour. I'm using almond milk because I want this to be vegan friendly. And then I've got sea salt, baking soda, and we've got some pure natural maple syrup. We've also got pure vanilla extract. I've got flax seed because I'm gonna make a flax egg. So again, if I'm wanting to keep along the vegan friendly line, instead of using eggs, I'm gonna use a flax egg, and I'll show you guys how to do that. And then we've got some cinnamon, and then of course you've got your cannabis infused coconut oil, which I've heated up just slightly in the oven so it's easier to measure out. And then you'll need some loaf pans. This recipe, you're just making one, unless you want to double it, in which case you'll need 2 loaf pans. And then you've got some overly ripe bananas that you're gonna try to use up here instead of wasting them. And then of course, just your measuring cups and measuring spoons. Okay, so the first thing that you wanna do is preheat your oven to 375, get that heating and ready to go. And then you're gonna make your flax egg because you want that basically to sit for a few minutes. The way it works is you're gonna take 1 tablespoon of flax seed, ground flax seed, put it in a little dish, and then add 3 tablespoons of water. So we need 2 flax eggs. The recipe calls for 2 eggs, but I'm making 2 flax eggs. So I would need 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed and then 6 tablespoons of water. Mix it up and just let it sit for a few minutes while you start working on the rest of the recipe. So I've just put it in the bowl here. I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit and then just set it off to the side for a few minutes, okay? The next thing that you're gonna do is put 1/3 of a cup of your cannabis infused coconut oil into the food processor or the bowl that you're gonna be mixing everything up in, okay? Then we add in 1/2 cup of the pure natural maple syrup. You can also use honey if you like. I prefer the maple syrup personally. What we also need is 1 cup of mashed ripe bananas, which works out to be 2.5 bananas or 2 large bananas. So we'll just mash these up, stick it in a measuring cup, and then put it into the food processor with the rest of the stuff. So once the flax egg mixture has turned a little jelly-like, then you will add that in with the coconut oil and the maple syrup, and you're gonna mix that well. Then we're adding in 1/4 cup of the almond milk and your 1 cup of mashed banana. Mix again. Then you want to add in 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of your pure vanilla extract, 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Then you'll blend that up again a little bit. Next, you're gonna add in 1 3/4 of a cup of the whole wheat flour, and you wanna just sort of add that in slowly. So I put in a cup and mix it, then put in the 3/4 of a cup and mix it again. And then you would just scrape down the sides as needed. Okay, next what you wanna do is grease one of these loaf pans. So just take some margarine or butter, a paper towel, and kind of like wipe it around on the inside. And then you just want to dust the inside with a little bit of flour. This just helps it from sticking, so it'll come nice and easy out of the pan for you. Okay, so next what you'd want to do is remove that attachment, the dough attachment, and kind of scrape it off a little bit, right? Because it's going to have some of the dough stuck to it. Throw that in the sink. Now, if you wanted, at this point, you could add in half a cup of some chopped nuts or raisins or something along those lines. I'm out of raisins right now, but I did put raisins in it last time and it was super delicious. So I would recommend doing the half a cup of raisins, but you could also do like walnuts or something like that. But this one I'm just leaving as is. Ooh, chocolate chips might be good too. If you wanted them to be vegan friendly, you're gonna have to find some vegan-friendly chocolate chips, but that might be a nice addition. At any rate, once you have mixed in your raisins or nuts, if you choose, then you're going to put it into the loaf pan. Okay, cool. So once it's in your loaf pan, you're gonna stick the loaf pan in the oven that you've preheated at 375, and you're gonna bake it for 55 to 60 minutes. And the way you can kind of test it around, the 50-minute mark or so, you could insert a toothpick, and if it comes out nice and clean, then you know that the inside is not doughy anymore, right? Okay, so into the oven it goes. Okay, there we go. We've got our cannabis infused healthy banana bread. This is a great way to use up overly ripe bananas and get your daily microdosing of the medicinal cannabis. Thanks so much for joining me, guys, and have a really fantastic day.